The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Newegg. Okay, why do I have this weird feeling that I'm never going to see any of the Newegg TV folks actually do something like that? Okay, that's just weird. Anywho, another Newegg box, which means more goodies. To go with the hardware reshuffle, here is what we're going to be working with eventually. So I picked up a new SSD. This sucker is the Intel, it's an Intel clearance model actually. This type of SSD with Intel has already been replaced. We have a 180 gig Intel SSD here. I decided to go with another Intel SSD because I still have the one from 3 years ago and it works A-OK, and I can use the Intel Toolbox thing for it. More on the SSD thing later. That's going to be a weekend project because that is a little bit more complicated than these bad boys right here. So here is a Fractal design Silent Series, 220mm fans, and one 140mm fan. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I've made the decision to basically soup up Tuxedo instead of building a new system for the time being. Basically, I can't really justify getting a new processor unless it's something really good, like an i7-4770K or something like that. So, but I don't really feel like spending that kind of money, especially when there's still a decent chunk of punch in the existing Phenom 2 system that I have. So what I want to do, I want to get some of those budget, like, value pack sleeve-bearing fans that I got earlier out of that thing and replace them with some proper fans with, like, liquid bearings and stuff like that. I want to see how quiet I can make Tuxedo without water cooling the thing. There's the loud old thing with its sleeve-bearing fans. I don't know how much noise I'm going to lose by switching to liquid-bearing case fans. I imagine the processor fan and the graphics card fans are probably louder, but it's worth a shot. Plus, sleeve-bearing fans have this nasty habit of dying all at once, instead of, like, rattling and making noises when the bearings start to go on them. So, sleeve-bearing fans are basically the cheapest type of fans out there. All the other types of bearings cost more and give somewhat better results, but I can't believe I still have these things sitting around. This is what I'm going to be pulling out of these things. These were value pack pot saving, just the one. These were those value pack Cooler Master 120mm sleeve bearing fans. So just a basic fan. If you just need to put a fan in a case, it doesn't cost a lot. So sleeve bearing fans can be a little on the noisy side, but basically they're pretty much bottom of the barrel. So they're pretty much bottom of the barrel as far as fan bearings go. Yay, sleeve bearing. Alright, I want to see exactly what we can do with this thing. So let's shut this thing off and pop the cover and start replacing them with something a little more respectable, like these Fractal design fans. Just one more thing though before we actually do that. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because I've been looking at getting a Fractal design case as my next case for my next system, so this is yet another upgrade that could be moved into the Fractal design case, because it's going to be Silent Series fans. Otherwise, I imagine it'll probably be pretty decent fans. Alright, let's quit messing around and get to work installing these bad boys. Here's a little something I'm going to do for Tuxedo, a power button shot as it were, so you can hear what this machine sounds like beforehand. And we'll do another one of these after the new fans are installed. So the side intake fans, consisting of a 140mm and 120mm, aren't really something that this case was designed for. But my intent with these is basically to bring in the fresh air directly from the side. Getting dusty already, huh? It hasn't been that long since I blew these things out. Man, this thing's a dust sucker. And one of the reasons why I should get a new case. However, so the intent with these is to have the noise over here instead of in the front of the case. So you get fresh air coming in the side instead of in the front, going directly to the components that probably need it the most. And basically, yeah, that's how it works. So you don't get the noise in the front. One of the problems, though, with these side fans is that they can screw up the airflow in the case if, depending on what speed they are and what kind of air they push versus the fans that are underneath them. Also, there are issues where the heatsink fins on most devices go the other way, so it doesn't help as much with that. And I actually do have some problems where some heat actually feels like it's coming out the front because of these. It'd be easier if I could have some direct input or something like that so that this wouldn't happen, but one of these days I'll get rid of this case, finally. Getting there. One of the sad problems with this case is that this fan thing is right down here, so I actually had to remove the sound card in order to get this fan unplugged. So out it goes, and one dusty sleeve-bearing piece of junk is out of there. Although it's not totally a piece of junk because it's got the cool hologram. Now, let's see what's in the box for one of these things. Take this thing out, shall we? Well, already I'm seeing a bit of a difference. First, we have more blades on the part that spins around, of course. More blades, so that should be interesting in terms of how it affects the airflow. These are also liquid-bearing instead of... There's also liquid-bearing instead of sleeve-bearing, and they come with an interesting set of accessories, too. So the wire thing is a low-speed adapter that would be used for slowing down the speed limit. Well, let's just pull them out of the case here. So here's the low-speed adapter. You'd use those for slowing down the RPMs if you don't need that much airflow and stuff along those lines. And you got these rubber screw things, which are actually push-through screws from the looks of it. Looks like these are what you would use to hook this thing up so that it... hook them up so that it would disconnect it from the case and help dampen the noise. And then, of course, you have traditional metal screws as well. So, which screws do I want to use? I wonder. Okay, this design is really making this look kind of tuxedo-ish now. That was annoying and a lot harder than it had to be. First and foremost, interesting hardware kit, but these rubber screws that are supposed to run silently, I don't recommend them at all. I mean, look at the thing. There's little rubber things. I tried hooking up one of the big fans with one of these things, and it just flopped all over the place and eventually fell out. So that's when I was like, yeah, heck with it. I'm not so certain about how mechanically sound these rubber screws are. But I stuck with the traditional screws that I already had. If I wanted to dampen the noise of fans inside a case with something made of rubber, there are things like rubber fan gaskets and washers and stuff like that that you can put between a metal screw in the case so you can get the stability of a mechanical connection with the quiet, with the silence of these rubber thing, whatever they're supposed to be. I've just seen far superior noise reduction components with previous builds that didn't involve little whatever these are supposed to be. So I actually broke one, so I broke one trying to get the fan out, so broke it into a couple of pieces, so yeah, I'm not convinced that's mechanically sound. Let's see how many of these puppies spin when I apply power. Well, once there's power to apply, of course. Plug in. Wires are a little stretched at this far up the desk, but... Alright, let's see how many of them spin on the first try. 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a different sound to them than the sleeve-bearing fans. They'll be quieter though once we get into Windows. How about the one in the back? Yep, Fractal design. Makes a different noise, but this right here, of course, is one of the reasons why I actually have. This right here is one of the reasons why I have side intakes. Because here's the fan noise from the whirring motor. Even though it's a liquid-bearing motor, it's still making some noise here. And so you turn that around and you make sure the computer's always on your left side, and the intake fans do their thing, and you got all this metal between you and where the air's coming in. So I'm wondering if I can make that any better with a Fractal design case. Just use the side cutouts and use the side case and stuff like that. Or use the side cutouts on the case, put some fans in so that all the noise is on the other side of the case. But the big thing I didn't like about the Fractal design case, as Windows boots up, and you can see the little light on the sound card through the fan blades, the big thing that I didn't like with the Fractal design case is that the power switch is on top, and there's a couple of things that I didn't like about it. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to buy incrementally. I don't want to buy a case just to have a new case. And then something that does what I'm looking for comes along 6 months down the road, and I'll have spent more money for the same results. Not a good thing to buy incrementally. That's worth a audio commentary of one of these days. But I don't intend on doing that here. So, moral of the story, when in doubt, don't spend your money. So I'm going to use the power button one push shutdown to shut the computer down in Windows. So let's see what this sounds like when the fans aren't nearby. The way this is supposed to work is that these fans are basically supposed to be controlled by the motherboard's fan controller. So I'm curious what kind of speeds I can get Or worst comes to worst, I will actually use... I'll just pop the case back open again and hook up one of these low-speed adapters, which I'm guessing is like a bunch of resistors in line with something. Yeah. We'll see how the cooling works with them at full speed, and then maybe consider going like low speed or something like that, see what we can do. But the thing is, though, the processor fan is smaller and has higher RPMs, as are the video card fans. So odds are when those spin up, we'll easily hear them over these. Okay, from the far side now, with the intake fans on the other side of the case. I can actually hear those a lot better than I could hear the other fans. Let's see what the cooling's like. There's our noise test. We'll have to see what the cooling's like, and if need be, hook up the low-speed adapters. But for now, as my old electronics shop instructor would have said back in the day, I thinks it's a computer, or something like that. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.